Think ESG scores are a reliable compass for sustainability? Think again. Behind the ESG label lies a mess of missing data, vague promises, and conflicting rating methods. In this video, we break down a 2025 academic study that goes deep into the problem, and more importantly, reveals a machine learning-based solution that could radically improve ESG ratings. You'll learn how greenwashing isn't just about slick marketing. It can be baked into the math, and how a new data-driven approach could help clean it up. Stick with us. This is the ESG Explainer. Serious investors, analysts, and policymakers can't afford to skip. Chapter 1. ESG scores. One label, two meanings. ESG scores carry a dual meaning. For some, they reflect values, ethics, sustainability, governance. For others, it's about value, a way to quantify risk and financial resilience. But when both use the same score, confusion is inevitable. A company flagged as sustainable may actually be increasing its emissions, yet still score high. That's not transparency. That's contradiction. So what's behind this inconsistency? It starts with the data. Chapter 2. Incomplete, inconsistent, and opaque. ESG data is a patchwork. According to the paper, over 50% of ESG data is missing across companies, often due to voluntary and unstandardized disclosure. Strikingly, companies that disclose less information often end up with higher ESG scores. Why? Because the fewer the data points, the fewer the penalties, and many rating agencies don't reveal how they fill in those blanks. But even when the data is present, what influences the score might surprise you. Chapter 3. ESG scores reward promises, not performance. One of the most critical findings in the study: targets and policies matter more than actual results. Machine learning analysis revealed that non-realized variables, such as emissions pledges or sustainability policies, carry far more weight in ESG scoring than real-world performance metrics. Why? Because those promises have better data coverage. As a result, companies are rewarded for what they say, not what they do. And when the data is missing, how it's filled in changes everything. Chapter 4. Quantitative greenwashing. It's in the math. The study introduces the concept of quantitative greenwashing, and it's a game changer. This isn't about false advertising. It's what happens when rating agencies impute missing data using flawed or opaque methods. Traditional techniques, like using the sector median, produce unreliable and inconsistent scores. This kind of greenwashing isn't subjective. It's measurable, and it's everywhere. So what does the paper propose instead? A new machine learning fix. Chapter 5. A machine learning method that actually works. The study proposes a novel methodology using large dimensional latent factor models, a machine learning technique that far outperforms sector median imputation. Specifically, the local BFXS model, which integrates both cross-sectional and time series patterns, significantly improves accuracy when predicting missing ESG variables. It captures how companies evolve over time and how they relate to their peers. In benchmark tests, it delivered lower RMSE and more robust ESG estimates, critical for ensuring that scores reflect real sustainability performance. A meaningful step forward, grounded in data science, not just hope. But even with better math, some sectors are more at risk. Chapter 6. Which sectors are most vulnerable to greenwashing? The study ranks sectors based on how vulnerable they are to quantitative greenwashing, and it's eye-opening. Technology leads the list, followed by energy and consumer non-cyclicals, due to a high percentage of missing binary variables. These gaps force imputation, and that's where the noise creeps in. Meanwhile, healthcare and utilities are least exposed. But once you adjust for missingness bias, industrials and consumer cyclicals also become heavily affected. Let's talk about what this all means, and why it matters now. Chapter 7. Takeaways for investors, companies, and policymakers. For investors, don't take ESG scores at face value. Understand what's behind the number and how it was built. For companies, realize that improving disclosures and focusing on actual outcomes may soon matter more than ticking boxes. For regulators, This research reinforces the need for universal disclosure standards. Like credit ratings, ESG scores must become transparent, comparable, and consistent. Without that, capital won't flow to where it matters most. And here's one final insight: the paradox at the heart of ESG. Chapter 8. Why high ESG scores still don't mean low emissions. According to the paper, there's a positive correlation between emissions and ESG scores. That's right. Some companies with increasing emissions are still rewarded. Why? Because pledges and policy disclosures, not realized emission cuts, drive the rating. The implication? ESG investing as it stands may not be reducing environmental harm and may even be misallocating capital. That's not just inefficient, it's dangerous. This study isn't just a critique, it's a call to action. Smarter models, cleaner data, and a better understanding of what ESG scores really mean. If you're serious about responsible investing, this is a paper you need to know. And if you want ESG to actually work, the methodology matters. For deeper insights like this, subscribe to our podcast, Weekly Market Update, where two generative AIs, guided by a former senior portfolio manager, deliver sharp, data-driven analysis of global markets every week. Like, share, and subscribe, and help spread smarter finance. Oh, and if you want a lighter but equally insightful video, check out What Can a Dog Teach You About Data Preprocessing? From skewed data to dummy variables, it's the fluffiest machine learning walkthrough on YouTube.